I wanted to switch the subject here to OJ Howard a little bit and
Mm,
scheme versatility, something we've talked about on this show, something I know the film room guys have talked about. Pro Anth has talked about it on Disguised Coverage a little bit. There was a tweet from one of the Bills beat reporters the other day, Thad Brown, where he said that OJ Howard so far in camp has been underwhelming. And, a couple of people in the comment section, and we've made the comment as well, like, what's OJ, what have we heard about OJ Howard other than he is big? And
mhm,
one of the things that Dad said, in the thread is me and him are going back and forth, was he mentioned that some of the beat guys thought it would be hard for the Buffalo Bills to leave 11 personnel this season, to take Isaiah McKenzie off the field for
mhm,
finger quotes, a jag, just a guy in OJ Howard. Now, coincidentally enough, OJ Howard had his best practice today. He ended up in multiple beat reporters' articles for having a good day today. But I disagreed with Thad's take on this wholeheartedly, and I wanted to get your take on it as well. Is OJ Howard who he used to be? No, he's not. But injuries have sort of changed his career trajectory. He's still a massive upgrade on what we had at tight end number 2 last season. Tommy Sweeney was literally benched for offensive linemen. What
mhm.
he allows you, OJ Howard allows you to do, is be way more scheme versatile. I said this 100 times on this podcast last year. I wanted to be more like the Buccaneers. 1 minute you're 4 wide, the next minute you're in 12 personnel and you're running it down people's throats. I want that type of versatility. Dawson Knox has already said that this is the most 12 and 13 personnel he's seen run to start training camp in his first 4 years here. And I think it's pretty simple. You have Knox, Howard, and Cook on the field. How does a defense want to play them? Do you bring in the third linebacker? Okay, we're going to spread these guys out. We're going to throw. You want to stay in nickel and keep your nickel back on the field, give up that size? Okay, we're going to run the ball down your throat. And it also gets defenses, in my opinion, thinking twice about whether or not they want to be in these too high safety looks. Howard may not be what people thought he was, but he sure as hell can beat out other teams' AJ Kleins. Like, practice isn't a game, and I'm confident that he can do that in a game setting, and the Buffalo Bills can be scheme versatile. What is your take on the up and down report so far on OJ Howard?
Um, I think it comes down to expectations, right? I mean, you are not OJ Howard's not here to be your number one tight end. And look, the reality is he was a former first round pick, and he really has never lived up to that status. And this happens a lot with tight ends, right? I mean, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Hayden Hurst was a first round tight end, or very close. I think he was, and he's kind of bounced around, and now he's with the Bengals trying to get his shot to kind of revive his career. And he's had his moments, kind of like OJ Howard. He's had his moments, and he's now here to be the number 2 tight end. He's obviously very used to playing in situations where there's multiple tight ends on the field, like you said, with Tampa Bay, Gronk, Cameron Brate, OJ Howard. Like, not not a stranger to this type of situation. And so I like your comment in comparing to Tampa Bay, because there are a lot of times even Tampa Bay last year would bunch up and use 2-3 tight ends with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin being the only receivers on the field. And, like, it does give you options. And so I know how good Isaiah McKenzie has been, and you, like, obviously don't want to take a guy like that off the field necessarily, but you also want to mix things up a little, right? You do want to mix things up. And I think being um, unpredictable, right? And being able to gain any kind of competitive advantage you have over another team and kind of dictate what personnel they have to put on the field is
Mm-hmm.
an advantage for you. And it's not always, like Eric said, it's not always about the one-on-one matchup, but it's also about what you can do schematically to get a certain personnel grouping of the defense on the field that you find to be advantageous. And maybe OJ Howard's on the field to get someone on the defense on the field that isn't necessarily going to be a one-on-one matchup with OJ Howard, that you're going to target OJ Howard, but maybe it's another reason why you want to get that guy on the field. So I lean with you on this. I think, and by the way, like, let's not pretend like you're taking Stephon Diggs off the field to get OJ Howard on the field. We're talking about Isaiah McKenzie. And I know he's been a star so far in camp, but OJ Howard can bring something, to the field just like Isaiah McKenzie had. And I'm glad he's had his good practice today. It's going to take him some time. Again, like we're only a week in, and he'll get going with Allen. And like Allen's got to also trust him, right? This becomes a trust thing with Josh Allen as well. There's guys he trusts on this team. Gabriel Davis, Stephon Diggs. He's trusting Dawson Knox now after, what Knox has done for him. And he's trusting Isaiah McKenzie. So if OJ Howard can get that trust from Josh Allen, then he'll start getting more looks in practice. He'll start, getting that confidence up. And I think you'll see a more confident and more, more swagger, I guess, from OJ Howard as camp wears on. And I think I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree that you want to be able to have multiple options schematically. And it doesn't mean all of a sudden they're just going to run 12 personnel all the time. We know that's not going to be the case, but maybe that ratio changes slightly enough where you can get guys like OJ Howard on the field a bit more.